Good morning. So today what we'll be discussing is the key differences between fiction and nonfiction, and then I'll show you what your assignment is for today. So let me share my screen. So we're going to look at the differences between fiction and nonfiction. So with fiction, there are specific things that we look for every single time that we're looking at a fiction text. One of them is that we're always looking at the plot element. And those are our introduction, rising action, climax, falling action, and our resolution. Okay. When we're looking at fiction, we're also looking at our characters. We're also looking at our setting. And we're looking at our main conflict. Good morning, Maya.
Good morning, Miss Poplar. Is this me today?
It's just you today.
Oh, Lord.
So when we're looking at nonfiction texts, what are some specific things that we find in nonfiction texts?
Text features?
Text features, what else? What do the text features help us find?
What is the central idea?
Yes. Okay. So when we're looking at nonfiction, we're looking for the text features. We're looking for the central idea. We're looking at fiction. We're always looking for the plot elements, which is the introduction, the rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. We're looking for the characters. We're looking for the setting. And then we're looking for the main conflict. Now, even though, is your mic muted? I can't mute you for some reason. It's not letting me mute you. There we go. So when we're looking at fiction and nonfiction text, just because one is fiction and one is nonfiction does not mean that the text cannot be similar. So obviously, fiction is a text that is not a real text. It's not something that really has happened. Nonfiction is something that is factual. But just because that's the case does not mean that it does not mean that that specific thing cannot really happen, that they can't have something similar. So let's think about the two texts that we've had this week. Okay, so our first text was the case of the missing carrot cake. And Maya, what was that about?
About a bunny who made carrot cake, but she called the investigators to find out who was eating her cake, but in the end they found that the bunny was sleepwalking and was eating all the cake.
Okay, and what was the dog detective about?
Can you repeat that again?
The dog detective, what was it about?
About scientists training dogs so that way they can find out about like the animals and other stuff.
Okay, so what is something that can be similar between those two texts, between the nonfiction text and then the case of the missing carrot cake? What's similar between them? What does the word similar mean?
Similar means like they're both the same.
Yeah, they both have it, right? So what's something that they both talk about, or something that they both discuss, something that they both use?
They both have a central. No.
What's the main character's job description in the case of the missing carrot cake?
The case
Blue
of
rat. I'm listening.
it was the detectives, and it was the rabbit and then her friends.
Okay, so the detectives were our main characters, and their jobs were to be detectives. What is the job of the dog in our article?
It was to sense out a animal or anything.
Right. So they're both detectives. They're both looking for something. They're both using different clues and different attributes to themselves to find out um to find out something. In the case of the missing carrot cake, it was to find out who was eating the carrot cake. In the dog detectives, it was to find out what species of animal live in that area, and then are they diseased, what do they eat, so on and so forth. So just because they're nonfiction does not mean that they're not just because one is nonfiction and one is fiction does not mean that they're not looking for the similar thing. They're both discussing some kind of detective work, whether it's a real story or a non-real story. Okay, so I'm gonna show you your assignment for the day. Okay, so what you're gonna do today is you're gonna look at this graphic organizer, and you're gonna use this graphic organizer to talk about the two pieces of text. The fiction text would be the case of the missing carrot cake. The informational text will be dog detectives. For each of them, you're gonna answer what's the genre, what are the characteristics of the text, what is the author's purpose of the text, and then what did you notice about the author's writing? Okay, then you're going to connect them at the bottom. We already talked about how they're alike. You're going to add how they're different. We also talked about the genre of the two texts. We also talked about the characteristics of the two texts. Really quickly, what is author's purpose? What is that? When I say tell me the author's purpose, what does that mean?
Why did he do that?
Right. Why is the author writing it? What is the author trying to get us to understand? What is the author trying to get us to learn? Very good. So you're going to be looking at that. Make sure that that you take your time and you take a picture of it and send it to me in Class Dojo when you're done. Okay. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Be careful.